Welcome everyone, this is the Jenkins Platform SIG meeting. Today we're on July 15, 2025, and around the virtual table today we have Birajit, Mark Waite, and myself, Bruno Verhachten. If ever somebody else would join, we would of course add them and welcome them accordingly. Thanks for coming. The agenda today, I have a few things about the recent versions of Java, or the upcoming versions there are, thanks to the Java patch day, Java 25, the container image updates for the Jenkins controller, and for the agents, the dependency updates for the agent, of course, the work in progress on images, and maybe a little thing about Android. Is there any other subject you would like to add to the agenda? No,
None
thank
for
you.
me.
Thank you, Mark. So as for the Java patch day, it's today. I don't know why it gets me excited each and every time, but you never know. Bug fixes, security fixes, wow, that's thrilling. So, of course, we haven't seen anything yet coming from Tamarin, but it will take days or maybe weeks, depending on the Java version, until we see something showing up. Of course, thanks to update.li, dependabot, and so on, the various repositories we have will have automatic PRs started, created, when they will come. I mean, we don't have to be super afraid of not getting in right away, because I don't know, did any one of you hear about something critical, a CV or something that would get patched with latest patches from Oracle, something we should be worried about or not?
No, but I don't recall ever seeing that in the past either. I'm not sure that
Oh,
Oracle does a pre-announcement and says this thing that's coming out will be very dangerous. So considering that their concept of critical patch update is an awful lot of different things that change on that same day, they change an enormous number of products. Java's just one of them for them.
okay. So that's the same thing for all the products. I didn't know about that. Thank you, Mark.
They call it critical patch update, and it's many products at Oracle that go through a patch cycle to deliver on that day.
Okay. Maybe that's because I'm not using that many Oracle products, to say zero. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin, for coming. Let me add your name. Yeah. So we'll see. Java 25 now. So it's been a few months now that Terin has supplied some JDK 25 early access releases for everyone to test. And we started playing with that a few months ago also. The infra team even has started working on it, installing it on ci.jenkins.io. And I think as for 2 weeks ago, or maybe since last week, we are now able as plugin maintainers to build, or at least to try to build with JDK 25. I say plugin maintainer, but any project in the Jenkins CI organization, I guess, as long as you're using a Jenkins file, should be able to build with JDK 25. So as it's available as a standard tool, like you do most of the time, in your Jenkins file, we're just saying Linux, Java 21, Windows, Java 17. It's the same. It's just Linux, JDK 25. It may also work with Windows, but I haven't tried it yet. As far as I know, it has been installed, but I haven't tried it. And of course, your plugin or your code may not build as is with JDK 25 because some of our dependencies aren't compatible yet with JDK 25. That's why we have to add this long list of things to get rid of before we are able to compile. Your mileage may vary, but that's what I'm using for one of my plugins. It's not mine, sorry. One of the plugins I help to co-maintain. I have a specific branch with JDK 25 in order to get it to build with JDK 25. I had to make these modifications. And it's also linked to the project is a big word. where we are trying to compile the 250 most installed plugins with JDK 25. Mark, you gave me lots of command line options in order to get this to work, and it has proven being quite successful. So 86 something percent of the 250 plugins are building automatically within GitHub thanks to the JDK 25. And maybe, Mark, you have some better numbers to share. I don't know.
I actually don't. The only reason I raised my hand is I wanted to be sure we had the hyperlink that you placed there. So your Maven config is the list of the plugin of the compile time options you're using, right? So that hyperlink from the doc is to this file.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. That's all I wanted to be sure of, because I wrestled trying to remember what the settings were. Having a place that records the settings is good. Very good.
Oh, okay. In fact, this is just for the plugin I help to maintain, but the scripts that are used to build as Jenkins PR tracker, there is also another Maven config options, but it's buried into some shell scripts. So it's better to have a look at this one. So if ever you want to try that, that may be not the source of truth, but an inspiration. Right. Thank you, Mark. Mark, is there anything new regarding the community plugin maintainer initiative?
No, this is the second meeting this week where I'm reminded that I need to send that mail message to the Jenkins developer list saying, hey, come August and September, we plan to, certainly with the September release of Java 25, we will start the Community Plugin Maintainers Initiative. If you want to opt out as a maintainer, start doing the opt-out now in Repository Permissions Updater. And I'll include a link to the Git plugin and the Git client plugin that will both intentionally opt out because I need to keep them with non-automated releases.
I get it. Thank you, Mark. So we'll start hopefully at the end of August or maybe in September and try to get these plugins to work with JDK 25 by the end of October, I think. What is the target, Mark, in the deadline? Do we have any deadline?
My goal is to be done by October 31 with Jenkins Core and say the top roughly 200 plugins. We'll see if we achieve that goal or not, because it's not until mid-September that they actually release it. So that doesn't give us more than about 6 weeks to actually do the work.
Thank you. And as for the Tamarin early access releases, they give us, not us, everybody, pretty frequent updates. And as for now, I think they have their plus 30 something release. The problem is with Windows, we don't have a binary for each and every of these releases. And that's why you may be surprised that we are still using the plus 25 on the infra. That's just because Windows is late. But that's okay. Any question, remark, comments? Thank you. Then let's go with the container image updates for the Jenkins controller. So it's been a while now. 3 weeks ago, we released the 2.504.3, and I haven't heard many bad things about that. Mark, do we agree on that? Not so many people are complaining about this release.
Yeah, it's being well behaved, just like we hope.
Yeah. And the next one is a 2.516.1 scheduled for July 23rd, which is next week, end of next week. No, middle of this week.
And we should put a reminder here that we've got the live stream tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to continue, I'll get a link to the live stream and embed it into the document.
Thank you, Mark, because you know how bad I am at trying to type in something and talking.
Right. You continue the meeting and I'll put the link in, because I think the live stream will be good for people to know what's coming, and good to hear from Jan Faracek on his processes.
Yeah, I guess we'll talk a lot about the recent UI changes.
Yes.
And Mark, you are the release lead for the next LTS. So yeah, next week you'll be the release lead. And the release candidate has already been delivered because it was on July the 10th. And the release, as I said earlier, is next week, next Wednesday. Now, for the weekly, so we have, of course, got 2 weekly releases since 2 weeks, and nothing major, nothing groundbreaking, no breaking change. I have seen a few dependency updates, but nothing major for UB9, for Debian, for Update TLI. We didn't change anything for the end user, and we have a documentation update, which is not that often, regarding the location of the initial password when Jenkins starts for the very first time. Now, for the Jenkins agent, we have 2 new releases for the SSH agent. We have seen some um, things going and then being reverted regarding Windows and Git, because we were hoping the new version of Git for Windows would solve the issue we were seeing on some of our repositories. But alas, that didn't work as expected. So we had to wait until the 2.50.1.windows.1, and the Git problem we talked about 2 weeks ago was then fixed. Whew, that's a good thing. And as for the dependency update, we only had the Debian bookworm that was changed. And I'm still waiting for the Trixie, by the way. I can't wait. It won't change much thing. I think it will just give us much more work, because everywhere, well, bookworm is written down, we have to change that to Trixie. But nonetheless, I want to see that. I already have some machines running Trixie, by the way. Not the official one, of course, but I'm kind of happy with it. We'll see. Now, for the Docker agent, 3 new releases this time. And we saw some dependency updates, of course, for UB9, UpdateCLI, Debian Bookworm, but also, and that's not often either, the Jenkins remoting version. So we are now on version 3.3.2.4 and things. We have some bug fixes by JCLeak and some maintenance, but nothing major. Now, for the work in progress on images, so we had, it must have been purged. No, so it's no more. Yeah, of course, it's no more work in progress. That's what I was telling you about a few minutes ago. The documentation update that we had that describes the location of the initial password. As for the Docker agent, we have the installed Git LFS from the repository instead of the Linux distribution packages, because it sometimes is outdated, I would say, or not up to date enough for our use. So it's still a work in progress. And we, of course, also have the add support on Linux for JDK 25. The pull request is almost, it could be merged, but I have to clean up the GitLog because there were so many commits for something that is quite simple, but whatever. So once it gets squashed on my side, it will be reviewed and hopefully merged. What else? Yeah, we still have on the Docker SSH agent something going on. I think it's linked to the migration, if I'm not mistaken. Since we migrated to AWS, we are facing some issues with some of the Windows builds. And so Damien did some tests, some tries, and he had to revert and then revert the revert. And we'll see the end of that one of these days. Nothing major. Most of the builds we have so far are working the very same way from Azure to AWS, but some of them are still facing some issue because of Windows being slow to start, I've been told. Maybe I misunderstood. Mark, do you have any input on that?
No. Still working on it. We are really
Yeah.
still working on it. It inevitably, when you change cloud provider, which is a major, massive, huge change, some things change, and we're having to work through those. The failures are relatively infrequent, but they do exist, and so the work continues.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Even if the infra team chose the very same machines, or almost, at least they have the same specification, the same CPU, same amount of memory, same kind of disk. Of course, they aren't strictly the same, and the network is not working the same way, the way they boot and so on. There are still subtle or not very subtle differences. So that's why it's not as transparent as we would love to. We would love to have just a button and click, and then bam, it goes from AWS to Azure from it. It doesn't work that way. It's just daydreaming.
Particularly in the world of storage, right? The Windows machines, I believe the Windows machine on Azure booted from an SSD, and the Windows
Yeah,
machines on AWS boot from a rotating Rust file system, from a hard drive, from a spinning disk, from elastic block storage. So
all
yes, there are
together.
definitely differences.
Yeah, and sometimes you even have to make some changes on your side because of the price it costs. Sometimes you have to make some changes even if you don't want to, because when you move provider, you have other options that cost way much, for example. So you have to find the balance each and every time. Nonetheless, they did a great job and almost nobody's complaining. Thanks a lot to the infra team. The last subject I had is a shameless plug. Last month, yes, in June, I gave a talk on how to configure a Jenkins controller and agent on an Android device on an old smartphone. It was a French conference, so sorry for people who wanted to see the video. It's available, but it's in French. Um, but I know for a fact that YouTube is sometimes translating, even in the voice, automatically video that are in foreign languages. That makes me mad. I hate that. But if you want to experience this, feel free to do so. Any other subject you would like to talk about today? Well, we were efficient this week. Thanks a lot. So the video should be available from 24 to 48 hours, and we should see each other's 2 weeks from now, right? So in the meantime, have fun with Jenkins and see you when I see you. Bye bye.